keep in mind what you just saw, because some of the work that you're going to see that we did for the 2016 Membership Marketing Benchmarking Report is going to be echoed through your work. It's really pretty interesting stuff. Real quick, much like my esteemed colleague here, we could have talked about the 2015 report, but that was a year old, and I'm now just putting together the report, the 2016 report right now. So I figured I'd provide a little bit of a sneak peek of the Membership Marketing Benchmarking Report for 2016. How many of you are familiar with the Membership Marketing Benchmarking Reports? Okay. Hi, Mom. Thanks. Okay. So here's the deal. About 8 years ago, we looked at the association world and tried to find benchmarks for people to evaluate, or associations to evaluate, their membership marketing efforts. Nobody knew what an average renewal rate was. Nobody understood, how many efforts should be in a renewal series. Nobody said, hey, what's going on with acquisition? So we took it upon ourselves to develop the Membership Marketing Benchmarking Report. We're going into our 8th year, so I'm going to report to you. My God, you must be so bored at this point. You're seeing nothing but statistics up here. But we're going to show you some average numbers that you can use as tools, benchmarks, if you will, to evaluate your own membership and your own distribution. I'm going back to something Greg Melia said in the beginning. It's to seek to understand trends and build capacity. Benchmarks, reports that you're seeing here, are the ability to at least have a baseline from which then to start tracking those trends. So with all that said, the purpose and the goals of the annual Membership Marketing Benchmarking Report is to gain an understanding, all right, determine the challenges, identify what practices are related to better outcomes. What, not why. So we do not reflect causality. We're just taking a picture of time. I'm emphasizing that because I recently put something up on Collaborate and all hell broke loose on that one. So it's not causality. First off, we're seeing growth over 2015, as you can see from the numbers. Number of associations is increasing. 49% are indicating an increase over the past year. 51% are indicating a change over the past 5 years. This is higher than last year, so associations are growing. However, we want to take a look at how come. And membership growth is tied to really 2 things. How many new members you acquire and how many you hold on to, right? Just like any business model. How many new customers do you have? How many repeat business do you have? So what we're seeing here is change in new member acquisition over the past year. We're seeing in 2016, it's 53% total. Individual, membership, trade, combination, it's all broken out. Versus 2015, when it was 44% as far as the increase. Interesting to note here now, overall renewal rate has increased a little bit, but certainly not as much as acquisition. We see that those numbers are now 82% for a mean or a median of 85 versus a mean in 2015 of 79 versus 82 median for 2015. The renewal rate for our first-year members, this is important. We take a look at the first year. It's sort of like going out on a date, right? You end up saying, hey, look, okay, sure, let's go out for that second date. Well, that's when you become your first-year membership. Now you're going to come back for a third date. Well, that's a renewal now. So what we try to take a look at is there's this real decision period in that first year, that kicking that tire. And as you'll see, in most associations, it's much lower. But what's interesting here is first-year members, the renewal rate has increased dramatically over last year. And that's a really great sign. Again, we're not talking about causality, but it brings to bear some very, very effective marketing. And what it looks like here, oh, I'm sorry, I went too fast, is what we're looking at here is growth is not coming from retention, all right, which it was last year. This year, growth is coming from acquisition, which means that's a very, very positive point if you take a look at the industry overall. We're investing more in finding new markets. That's exciting, well, for me. So, association's top goals: increasing member engagement, increasing member retention, increasing member acquisition. This really hasn't changed from year to year. The percentages change, they vary a little bit, but really the hierarchy remains the same. What's interesting for us here is the importance of member engagement. I think part of member engagement is also basically making a promise in acquisition. You acquire a member, the member is signing on for a certain deal. Being able to hold on to them implies that you're fulfilling that promise. And that's what engagement's all about. So this is a very positive sign. The two biggest external challenges to growing: competitive associations and the cost of membership, perception of the association, lack of brand awareness. Much of this is also about communication, which reflects directly back to what you were talking about. The top biggest internal challenge is difficulty in communicating benefits. Insufficient staff, which is a constant problem, and membership is too diverse, which I think really reflects back to it's difficult to communicate the value effectively. Krista, how many different groups do you have in your group, in your association? You said how many different sections? Yeah.
Yeah. Six main segments.
6 main segments, which is very tough to try and communicate on a uniform level, taking that major brand message and bringing it down so that it is clear and concise into 3 different categories, and then broken down even further to all the different subspecialties. It can be a real very complex issue. Average age of members, we're finding, for individual membership associations, we're looking at primarily 45 to 55. For trades, 50, again, it's all within that market area or that age range. Top 3 reasons members join. Networking with others. This goes right back to your study. What I love about this is that the people who are answering this are the executives from the associations themselves. The people who answered your study were the members. So it's great to see that there is some alignment, because I've always wondered that. There is some alignment between what is perceived and what is real. And it justifies both of our studies, as a matter of fact. Learning best practices, again, comes back to networking. Continuing education, access to specialized and or current information. These are the subcategories that were brought out earlier in your results. Top reasons for not renewing. Somebody asked that question earlier. What's the big, what are the reasons people don't renew? Lack of engagement with the organization is the number 1 reason. Left the field. Okay. Could not justify the membership costs with any significant ROI. That's interesting. It's also about a lack of engagement, I believe. Again, employer won't pay. Lack of value. I forgot to renew. Oops, right? All right. The percentage of students to full membership conversion. This is from, unfortunately, I don't have the statistic from this year's study yet, but this is from last year. So students less than, oh, I'm sorry, this is this year. I apologize. I'm confusing my studies. This is from this year. Typically, you're converting, somebody asked earlier about student memberships in one of the earlier presentations. The number of, it's typically less than 10% is the big number. If you're getting 20% and your board says, wow, why aren't you doing better? You're doing better than most people. Length of grace period by renewal rate. This is something I posted the other day. There is a statistical relationship between renewal rate of over 80% and the number of efforts you have in your renewal series. That number of efforts is between 6 and 8. All right, this has been proven out year after year after year. It also corresponds very nicely with what we understand in regards to consumer marketing, which is it takes anywhere from 8 to 9 reveals, if you will, to get a product or a brand top of mind enough to make a sale. So there is something about seeing something 7, 8, 9 times before it's actually gotten through all the gray matter for a buyer to actually make a decision. Now, this is all hypothetical, but it seems to be making sense since I know the different sources. When it comes to a grace period, typically 3 efforts in that renewal series is called your grace period. That's the month after expire, the 2nd month after expire, 3rd month after expire. There is a relationship between successful renewal series and having an extended grace period. A lot of people are saying there is, should we get rid of a grace period? We're making the case that probably you shouldn't. It's a stronger argument to keep it. So I would like to play a video for you. And I think the video, and some of you may be familiar with this video. I came upon it the other day. And I think it really, really gets to the bottom line about engagement and communication. Engagement is an emotional response. I'm engaged. You have my attention. Might be positive, might be negative, but you have my attention. To get people to get their attention, you need to present your message in a way that compels them to pay attention to you. I would like to show this video to you just to give you an idea of thinking about your own programs, whether you're selling your publications, you're promoting your membership, subscribers, or membership, or even going after advertisers. All right? It's very easy for us to communicate, and I keep seeing this in all the studies, and as Ian explained to you, I write copy, I do all that stuff. And it's very easy to simply say, we have books, we have journals. The much harder thing to do is put yourself in the shoes of the other person and for just a moment, get some level of agreement with that person. It's a beautiful day. Well, yes, it is. I can't see it. Your career is important. Why, yes, it is. This information will help you. All right? Take a step back and try and come at whatever you're doing from a different paradigm. And I think you're going to find that I would love to see those numbers about communication, rate of return, or ROI, drop. Because when we do, we're going to see a flood of new members. We're also going to see rising renewal rates. Perhaps not like Krista's renewal rates, which are 93%, please. But you'll see your programs get better, whether you're selling product, you're selling memberships, you're selling conference attendance or webinars. And that's it for me, man.
All right. Great. Thank you.
Sure.